basement, me, my pen and my pad. Started thinking about things I never had. Was broke as a joke, ain't never laughed.
If the 76ers lose in the first round, if they lose in the second round, yes. Definitely if the 76ers lose in the first round, Nick Nurse should be fired. Daryl Morey should be fired. What's good, Georgia boy? Philly Talk PO. Let's keep it psycho. Let's keep it a buck. We're back. So mostly saw a little March Madness action over the weekend. Really fun time. Buffalo, not really that great of a city, which makes sense because like you see the fans on TV. Let's get into this. Right now, the 76ers are 39-32, pretty much tied with the Atlanta Hawks, but they're Philly 7th seed, ATL 6th seed, same record, same home and away record. Now Maxi's, he's been out a couple weeks, and Paul George, dumb of the day, Paul George, he's been out since February. Embiid obviously has played like one every 7 or 8 games on average this season, and the only saving grace has been one VJ Edgecombe who was injured himself. The 76ers, it's time. The future is now. Future meaning Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe. Build around those guys. Embiid, I'm sorry. It's just too... Once again, people, we love Joel Embiid, but we also know, hopefully if you're a smart owner, the team is thinking. And when we said trade players, too early before it's too late, we weren't talking about Jared McCain, Daryl Morey. We were talking about Joel Embiid. If any Sixer should have gotten traded at the deadline, it should have been Joel Embiid. But you traded the guy that could have been keeping the team afloat when Maxey was out, when VJ was hobbled. But no, we got Quentin Grimes. Shut up. Respectfully, shut up. Y'all don't, because y'all don't know. I really, would love to just get the chance to ask Daryl Morey, to ask Nick Nurse. Well, Nick Nurse, I have a lot of, but Daryl Morey, what really were you think? Like, what did you see? Like, when you traded Jared McCain, like, what were you thinking you could get? What were you thinking you could do to trade a guy that for some reason is getting minutes on a championship team in clutch time? Also, including when SJ is healthy, still getting clutch time minutes, but he can't find minutes on a much more inferior team in the Philadelphia 76ers. He can't find minutes there. Nick Nurse, you can't let Justin Edwards get more than 5 minutes every 2 games. Clearly, when he gets the confidence, he can knock down threes, get some tough buckets, but you want to sit him on the bench for Kyle Lowry? For Quentin Grimes? Nick Nurse, that's what you want to do? Okay, all right. I'm just asking. I really have questions. Because I've always been the mentality, I don't know more than the coaches. I don't know more than the players because I'm not in film every day. I'm not playing. I'm not in practice. But with Nick Nurse and Daryl Morey, I really, because it's getting to the point where I feel like I might know more than Daryl Morey, the guy that relies completely on AI to make decisions for him. So I just want to ask Daryl Morey, what were you thinking when you traded Jared McCain for nothing, saying we sold high? BS. Nick Nurse, why do you play Justin Edwards so few minutes, even though it's clear he can give us a spark off the bench? Why do you play Quentin Grimes so much when it's clear he only scored 24 points per game because he was on a 24-win team with no Maxey, no Embiid, no Paul George? But you continue to do so. These are just questions that I have that's really making me think, do I know more than Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse? Because the coaches like it's 2016. The GM can't think for himself, lives and dies by the 3. Mike D'Antoni, the ideology, lives for the big superstar, clearly has not worked. And Paul George should be the last straw. Paul George was brought here, what was it, 4 years, 212? Supposed to be the last piece. And so far it's been a disaster. I don't think it's, played. I mean, obviously playoffs, needs to be seen, but it's been a disaster. And Embiid still just can't. No, the miracle of that doctor still can't get Joel Embiid to play, consistently. At some point, you just gotta say, hey, we did our best, we tried, but it's tough. Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, the future is now. Daryl Morey, if the Sixers lose in the first round, Daryl Morey, you gotta go. Nick Nurse, you gotta go. Because your coaching style got one man traded and is now putting up, really good numbers, career highs on a championship team where he's arguably, the fourth best point guard. You could argue. Another guy you traded to a team that's the first seed in the East holds down the ship when other guys like Jalen Duren are out and Paul Reed. A third guy you traded to the team that won the championship last year, you couldn't find any minutes for him, but you traded him for OKC, and now he's putting up clutch threes on one of the greatest defensive teams of all time and contributing defensively in Isaiah Joe. I mean, we're just looking at these things, and Nick Nurse, Daryl Morey, the owner, we already know what he's involved in off the court. Like, it comes to a point where at some point you just got to say it didn't work. The process is over. The generator and Tyrese Maxey is now. And as a Sixers fan, I know that people always say I'm over dramatic and you have no objectivity and you're not really looking at it. But we can all see with our own eyes. You don't have to be a Sixers fan to know that if it was right now, they win their playing game, and, I'm pretty sure they play Boston. Because right now, if the Sixers were to go into the playoffs, they would play Boston. We all know, you don't have to be a Sixers fan to know, they will be going home in 5 games. If the Celtics if Joe Mazzulla is generous, the Sixers will go home in 5 games. That's just how it is. I mean, you move up one, and you get to play the Knicks, who they've also been having some spurts. But like, dog, like I would have the Knicks winning that, because there's nothing the Sixers have done consistently this season to tell me, yeah, this team can do something. Oh no, but we got the answer. Cam Payne and Quentin Grimes off the bench. Like, bro, shut up. Like, y'all don't know. You don't know. I could go again through the list of players through Sixers history that have been passed on and guys that were picked up in return, and how nothing great ever happened from the players that we kept in return. The most glaring example, obviously, Tobias Harris over me. That's obviously the most glaring example. But there's so many players that we passed on, or we switched up. Matisse Thybulle, obviously one of my favorite players. To be fair, never developed a 3-point shot. You traded him essentially for like Caleb Martin / Jaden Springer, and that did not work. You traded Jaden Springer, and he won a championship with the Boston Celtics. Caleb Martin right now, I don't even know what team he's on. Like, I mean, Furkan Korkmaz, you messed up his minutes. A pretty solid 3-point shooter off the bench. Like, it just gets to a point where, as a Sixers fan, you gotta just... There's nothing to say. Like, it gets really hard for me to do with the Sixers, talk about the Sixers, because what else is new? What is there to say? The same team, they are a 7 seed in the Eastern. They are behind the Atlanta Hawks, the Toronto Raptors, and Cleveland. 3 teams that will be doing nothing in the playoffs, and you're behind those 3. I mean, it just gets to a point. Me personally, I got Boston out of the East, but it really gets to a point where you're like, is anything ever going to, like, once again, insanity, doing something over and over again and expecting a different result. And Daryl Morey has been doing that for pretty much a decade at this point with Houston and Philly, and it has not worked. To be fair, he had one good shot in 10 years Daryl Morey has one excuse, and that was Chris Paul getting injured. That is Daryl Morey's only excuse. The rest is all on him. Brings in Russell Westbrook. Gets rid of Clint Capella. None of this stuff ever works out. James Harden. Paul George. Like, it doesn't work. We're done. Sixers fans are so done with this dude. Nick Nurse, you just have your bags ready to go by the door at the end of the season because most likely you're going to be out of there as well. There's a very good chance like we'll lose in the play-in. I sound very depressed, but this is just keeping it real based on the way this team has looked this season. I mean, bro, I was at the Pistons game, and there were guys checking it. I'm like, me. Now, people know, like, I know, especially teams that I, like, am fans of, I know every last player on the roster. Bro, there were dudes checking in on the Sixers. I had to look up. I was like, who is this dude? Number 16? Marion Beecher? Like, I didn't even know he was signed to the team. Number 14, Dalen Terry. Who are these dudes? And Nick Nurse is playing those dudes more minutes than Justin Edwards? Nick Nurse, I don't know. I really just want to know your thought process. You got a hometown kid that can hit, but for people saying, well, Justin Edwards is inconsistent, he has turnovers. Yeah, I would have a lot of turnovers. Jared McCain would have a lot of turnovers if he doesn't have confidence. And when he gets in the game, the coach clearly doesn't have confidence in him. Like, I saw Dan Hurley last night, this freshman. I don't know the kid's name. The dude was clearly, bit in over his head to start the game. But Dan Hurley's confidence in him, like after he hit one shot, Dan Hurley was acting like they won the championship on the sideline. Like, coaching matters. That's what puts Dan Hurley and Dusty May above all these other guys. That's what put Rick Pitino, like all these really good college coaches above these other guys. That's what puts Joe Mazzulla had Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard and 10-day contract players. And right now, they're about to overtake the Pistons for the 1 seed in the East. Tatum has played like 5 games. And they're about to be the 1 seed. Like, coaching matters. And Nick Nurse's style just is not sufficient to win. Nick Nurse is not this really, if anything, Nick Nurse's Philly tenure just shows how good prime Kawhi Leonard and to an extent Pascal Siakam were. Because this dude, like, a team will go on a 15-0 run, doesn't call a timeout. His team will start knocking down shots, and then he calls a timeout. Nick Nurse will call a timeout on his own team before he calls a timeout against the other team. It just makes no sense. The Sixers are cooked. Joel Embiid was fun, but my brother, it might be time for you to just hang it up. Sixers, it's too late now for Giannis. It's too late for Bam. And this year is probably too late for even like Zubac, a Zubac level player. You're stuck. You're stuck with 2 of the worst contracts in the NBA. The 76ers are stuck with 2 of the worst contracts in the NBA. Embiid, who just unfortunately can't play, so that's why it's bad. And then Paul George, who you gave a lot of money to for essentially nothing. A first-round exit in all likelihood. Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, the future is now. There's really nothing. There's nothing left to say about this team. It ruined, dude. I was having a great day, and then I realized I have to talk about this team, and it just makes me sad, man. Makes me depressed. Like it gets to a point where we're just Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe fans. I can't take people seriously when they're like, yeah, I would rather have Quentin Grimes over Jared McCain. I can't take people seriously when they're like, well, Isaiah Joe wasn't going to do anything for us anyway. I can't take people seriously when it was like, well, Tobias Harris, has some years left, more years left than Jimmy Butler, so that's why it was a good deal. I can't take people seriously when it's like, we should have brought Ben Simmons back and the season would have been different. It gets to a point where just the foolishness, the unseriousness, like just the not smart thinking from fans, from people in the organization, it just puts you to a brink. And right now I'm at that brink where I'm about to, be walking around saying, "Oh, I'm just a Tyrese Maxey and VJ fan. I don't really follow the Sixers like that." Because the 76ers are one of the worst, outside of the Sacramento Kings, the Philadelphia 76ers are one of the worst run franchises in the NBA. And then these are the same dudes that will be coming to your college or your school or your club and be trying to give advice on how to run a successful team. Like, fool, why am I listening to you? You suck at your own job. Why am I going to listen to you for career advice? But hey, there's nothing Sixers fans you can do. You have to wait it out and pray that they don't trade VJ because we sold high on VJ Edgecombe. Like, if Tyrese Maxey or VJ Edgecombe gets traded, y'all might not hear from me for months. I don't care if the Eagles are on. I don't care what's happening. Y'all aren't going to hear from me for months if that happens. I'm going to go off the grid. Might, just ponder about life in a dark corner somewhere if that happens. But hey, man, yeah, at least we have a guy across the street who knows what he's doing. The one and only Howie Roseman. I'm really having confidence this year in Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni was talking to the fam. So Nick Sirianni, I guess you could say a friend of the fam, Nick Sirianni. So we really have hope that Nick Sirianni can, turn around his reputation, his coaching reputation this year. And Sean Mannion, really exciting things. A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. Let's get it resolved, because if we didn't have that team, that great, sensational organization, I don't know what I would do with myself. I mean, hey, other Sixers, other Philly sports fans, y'all know this is not an overreaction. We have witnessed since the end of the Allen Iverson era. This is just pure stupidity. For about 80, the retirement organization that has failed Joel Embiid, the Sixers organization that is currently to an extent failing Tyrese Maxey, and it's unfortunate. But we still have faith in Tyrese, still have faith in VJ. Only two players on the team I have faith in. Justin Edwards when he plays. I really like Justin Edwards. Hey man, that's just my thoughts. Y'all always let me know on Instagram, TikTok. Y'all always let a brother know. But hey man, it's your boy, Philly Taco Pay, where we always keep it a stack, always keep it a buck. I'm out, y'all.